When I say the words National Lampoon, what do you think of? Do you think of Van Wilder? Do you think of Christmas Vacation? If you're older, you might think of Animal House. But if you're a true OG, you will know that National Lampoon began their mainstream distribution as a magazine for adults or young adults. This is the Nifty Show. I'm Joel Comm. That is Lord Travis Wright. Trav, did you read Lampoon in the 80s?
You know what? I love National Lampoon. Between that and Mad Magazine and Cracked, those were my three favorite magazines growing up. Actually,
I was a big fan of Crazy too. I liked Crazy.
I don't remember Crazy at all, but I remember Cracked. And then later on in the 80s, people started smoking it.
Yes, they did.
It's different.
You're not supposed to do that. Well, whichever variation of National Lampoon you think of, they have not gone away. In fact, they're back in the Web3 world, and they have an NFT mint that is going to open the door to comedy for all. And to tell us about it today, we have an advisor to the National Lampoon project. His name is James Fink, otherwise known as the Art Snitch. Jimmy,
what's up? How are you guys doing today?
Yeah. Why are you the Art Snitch?
Why am I the Art Snitch? Because my last name is Fink. And so if you know the definition of Fink, it means you ratted me out, you snitched on me.
You dirty Fink.
You know, I mean, you can't trust me. The other thing is that I'm a fine art photographer, and I don't like shooting weddings. I've done it. I don't like shooting headshots. I've done it. So James Fink photographer sounds like I'm about to go shoot a wedding. And so I decided with my love of street art and my last name that I've become the Art Snitch. And then it's evolved into, working with a bunch of brands. But that's how I got started in the Web3 space, was actually with my photography.
Very good. You've been doing some cool stuff. And then you partnered up with the National Lampoon's folks. And this is awesome. So I participated, met you in a couple of Twitter spaces over there with National Lampoon. And there's a really great community brewing up in this space.
Well, there's a whole kind of... people get scared when a brand comes into the Web3 space. And, I think...
I'm scared right now, actually.
Right? I mean, you should be, possibly because someone's making fun of you in our Discord right now. But, and you're not there to battle it. It's, but yeah, that's what's... I met the CEO a little over a year ago. We sat down. I have a big broadcast media background. The photography got me into the Web3 space, ended up working with a couple different projects, and that's kind of how I got really deeply involved in it. And then, had lunch with them. They said they were interested in the space. And I said, well, we've got to start building communities. And, I'm not the only advisor on the project, so I can't claim 100% ownership of that, but it was definitely one of the people that was loud about that. And so we took almost a full year before announcing we were going to come here, which happened at the end of September of last year. And since then, we've just been meeting people in the communities, talking to people, hosting shows, bringing some people who have some funniness to the stage. And, it's evolved into comedy night shows, movie shows, radio hour broadcasts and Twitter spaces, and a Discord that is full of meme throwing.
Well, I remember very much reading National Lampoon as a very young adolescent. I think my brother had it. And I remember owning this issue from October 1973. And I will say,
one of the best.
Every young man eventually stumbles. Now it's really easy because you have the internet and porn is everywhere. But every young man in that day would eventually stumble across a Playboy that, either a sibling or a father had hidden away somewhere. My brother had Lampoons. And so Lampoons were my first access to boobies. And I got to say, I knew right away, okay, I like these. And it was all done with humor, right? It was these comic-y panels that were done. And so for those who aren't familiar with what Lampoon was, you might be able to go back and find some of these magazines on eBay. I'm sure that they're out there.
Yep.
And kind of give you a history of what was. Then the films came. So what, and then Lampoon kind of just it wasn't as relevant for a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's leading to this resurgence now and the interest in Web3?
So it's really interesting. The current ownership
bought National Lampoon about 6 years ago. And what ended up happening was they started to revitalize the brand and start to produce new content, and then COVID hit. But during that time, they actually got the chance to take a look back. And I want to kind of start at the beginning, which is National Lampoon was started by two guys who went to Harvard University, and they worked on Harvard Lampoon and wrote comedy for that, which started back in the like 1890 something. And so when they left Harvard, they decided to start a writer's room up. And that's kind of the key for the next part of the story is that that writer's room was really important in developing the content that was the magazine, which you wouldn't have Animal House or any of the vacations or all of those things without the writer's room writing content for National Lampoon, and then National Lampoon getting courted by some movie companies back in the 70s and early 80s to get movies made based on the content that was created in these magazines. And these magazines, by the way, you showed some of them. First of all, they had amazing artists creating satire all across the board. There was no one that was, no political, religion, ethnicity, race, whatever, sexuality or anything that was not attacked in a fun way. If it was going to be called out, they didn't care. They had no affiliation with anybody, and they attacked everybody, right? So
equal opportunity offenders, just like we like.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the way comedy should be, right? So what ended up happening there's a great documentary on Hulu about it, but a couple owners later, the new owners take it over. They're trying to produce content. COVID hits, slows everything down. They get actually called up by a couple of companies to say, hey, can we license your stuff to create some NFTs? And they said, sure, make a quick buck. But then they thought about it and said, no, let's explore this. So when we started to sit down and really talk about what National Lampoon was going to do in the Web3 space, it was about building a comedy community. And then in that comedy community, they're going to have access to some of the Web2-ish type of things that National Lampoon's already in the works of doing. But we're looking to create new comedy born out of Web3 with new creators, with new fans that connect them and build this whole new set of content that's going to come out. And, when we get on spaces and we start talking to people, they always go, oh, Animal House, Vacation, the magazines, and those are going to be iconic forever. And we're never going to get away from that because why should we? They're amazing. They did it right. But what we're hoping is in 2 years, we're going to be talking about all the stuff that was born out of these communities that are built through our Discord and the NFT holders that will hopefully, carve a new path for comedy and media coming out of Web3.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, there's so many quick-witted people. Like we were in one of those spaces the other day and people were popping up and just wit, sarcasm. Like the people who grew up with National Lampoon are probably some of the most sarcastic, keen-witted, quick-witted people. And to be able to take this and to activate this community, especially in the Web3 space, seems like an ideal fit for National Lampoons moving forward.
It does. And if you ever listen to some of the spaces where the CEO's been on, the one thing that he also talks about, which, from his point of view is probably more realistic than mine, but is that, there's lots of companies producing content out there, but they're all subject to the distributors. And if the distributors like Netflix and Amazon decide that they don't want yours or they like it, but they're going to put it on the shelf, that's it, you're done. Here we have the opportunity to cut out that middle person and really drive the growth of comedy, whether it's animation, stand-up comedy. We're doing a show with Jimmy.eth, and it's going to be called Touching Grass, and it's going to be a show that's set up similar to Interview with the Hot Wings, when they interview actors and they're eating hot wings. So it's not going to be that, but it's going to be that type of format, and we're going to interview major Web3 founders, we're going to interview comedians, we're going to do that kind of stuff with it, and it's going to be something that the community of NFT holders are going to actually be able to vote where and what scenarios these interviews will take place. What's going to happen? Who should be the next guest? All of those things are going to be created that. So you've got comedy creators, right? Like you guys who could come on and we can create a potential comedy show with you. We can do some fun stuff. And then I can come because I'm not a comedian, but I love comedy, can come watch. But on the flip side, as a comedy fan, I get to A, be in touch with you guys, but B, potentially vote whether or not that comedy show is going to be done over hot coals. And then you've got to do it.
I have to tell you, this has got me feeling nostalgic. I just went on eBay and bought a bundle of 70s Lampoons because it's probably been 40 years since I saw these magazines, and I'm really curious to see if I had some of these. So the website that people can look at is nlstudios.io. Comedy is crash landing, and you guys are doing a mint of this poison pill, which is going to act as the membership. So tell us about the NFT. If there's, is there, are they one of ones? How many are there going to be? What's the mint price? How do you get one? What is it going to unlock?
Cool. So the poison pill is our NFT drop, right? And it's called the poison pill because the Web3 community, well, there's multiple references to it, from the blue pill and the red pill, from the Matrix type of things, which I think's been used at a lot of different projects, nothing to do with Matrix. When we came up with the name, it was right at the time Elon Musk was trying to take over Twitter, and they swallowed the corporate poison pill to try and raise prices so he couldn't buy it. And of course, we all know what happened there. And then 3, the thing that I think it's funny is just how cultish our community is with our projects. And, if you know anything about a cult, you come and join in one, place, you all take a pill together, you all die together, and you join the promised land of whatever that cult with, is promising. In our case, it's comedy, right? So there's 4,669 of them, which seems like a random number, but with anything, a National Lampoon, there's going to be some Easter eggs that link to something or nothing, but at least they have a meaning. In that case, it's the mathematical number for chaos. So just so you know, and now I know it, and I've said it 100,000 times.
That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, why 5,000? Just do 4,669 and call it chaos. So what that pill does, it actually we're minting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Okay, so just so people know, tomorrow, that date is going to be on the 24th of January. So the show's coming out the evening of the 23rd. So if you hear this after, it's already minted, and you may have missed the first round, but there's open sea for secondary market.
That's true. That is true. We're going to be, ultimately we want people who get involved or, to buy the pill who are real fans. This is, there's no rarities. They're all the same. It's all an access pass. It's going to be a 20 plus second 4K video of the pill opening up and giving you some kind of knowledge on National Lampoon. So it's really cool. And, the idea again is once you get this, you're going to get access for life. So the amount of the mint is 0.2, which, some people feel like it's a little pricey. Some people like calling it just spot on. And, look, we're going to start dropping 1 month after mint, the magazine again digitally. And you're gonna get that every month for your life.
Ooh,
and
nice.
So now if you don't have the pill, you can come in and we're gonna actually sell it as an NFT as well. But if you're a holder, you get that dropped. You're gonna get into special Discord channels. You're gonna get invites to comedy clubs that they're opening up throughout the country, starting with LA, right around NFT LA. So that's something we're hoping to give to holders first, and they're going to get access to those things. We're going to create some tours. Those tours, you're going to get a chance to vote as a holder on who should be on that tour. And then you're going to get, access tickets to that, whether that's discounted or free or great seats. It's all going to be determined based on venue and tour and all that other fun stuff. And then, we're redoing the vacation series, Not with the Griswolds. The holders are going to get access to sneak peek previews. They're going to have an opportunity to maybe vote on whether the character goes right or left, ends up in Dubai or Antarctica, and things like that potentially could happen. And, holders are going to be there. And then my favorite story that I like to tell is because I'm in LA and I worked in media, radio and television for 15 years, I got to really do some fun things and get invited to fun things. And I actually had tickets to the Laugh Factory every Friday night that I wanted to go. And I would often show up at the Laugh Factory, and it was a bunch of no names, meaning like they were up and coming comedians. And one night there was a lot of comedians there, and it got late, and a guy got up on stage, and I had never laughed so hard in my life. It hurt. I had to leave. I couldn't stay for any other comedians. And ended up being Dave Chappelle. And it wasn't Dave Chappelle before, when he had a movie and a TV show. This is pre any of that.
Nice.
And to be able to say that I saw Dave Chappelle and laughed my ass off so much before he was even a big player in the comedy game, I love. And, if you go into our Discord right now, you're going to find all kinds of people who are funny, like I said, throwing memes at you and having a good time. And those people can be voted on or pitch ideas, and next thing you know, there could be a whole new set of comedy, generated from this Discord and with holders that can be there. Now, the only thing last thing I'll say is 4,669 is not enough for us to build a whole comedy community. So there's going to be future things that are going to happen that we have planned. to get people to come in and get access to things. If you don't have the pill, you'll still be able to participate and see the comedy we put out and support it, but you won't have that one-on-one access to be a part of the process and pitch ideas like you would if you were a pill holder.
That's so great because there's so many comedians out there, I think, that are very funny that just don't have any reach yet. And a lot of comedians can travel all over and still just not make any money. And for you guys to really come in and try to help lift those folks up, I think there could be a potential big win on that. So I'm gonna grab a couple of these things as well, because I think that it makes it not financial advice, but for me, it's a love of National Lampoon. Like, it was part of my childhood, right? So I'm gonna come in and be a part of it because, for one, I'm a smart ass. I know Joel's a smart ass. I'm also a dumbass.
It's the smartest part of my anatomy, actually. My ass.
Is your ass?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Very intelligent.
Yeah.
And so we're having fun with this. And I love what you guys are doing on this. And I cannot wait to see what's coming next. The Discord is growing. It's been a while since I've been really excited about the potential of an NFT project.
Hey, Travis.
A lot of them are me too.
Can you, so on this page here on nlstudios.io is 5 comedians, classic comedians in this photo. Name them from the top down without hesitating.
Ooh.
I see. Well, the first guy, he directed Ghostbusters.
Yep, that's Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis. There you go. I don't know the second guy.
That's Joe Flaherty. Joe Flaherty. You know Joe Flaherty. He was on Second City. Flaherty? Yep, that's Bill Murray.
Okay.
And
no, that's not Bill Murray. That's not Bill Murray.
It's not Bill Murray.
No, I forget the guy's name, but he's been in every comedy movie with Bill Murray and Chevy Chase and.
Oh wait, is this his brother Brian Doyle Murray?
Yeah.
Looks like it might be.
Yeah,
that's John Belushi.
That's John Belushi.
And then Gilda Radner. Nice.
Yep. Very good.
Well, what most people don't realize is that National Lampoon actually found all of these great comedians out of Second City and Chicago, mostly, but other places. And I mean, John Hughes included and a bunch of other names, right? And then NBC called up National Lampoon and said, "Hey, we're doing a Saturday Night Live skit show for comedy. Would you be interested in helping us create this?" And they turned it down. Then they got into some financial trouble, and the comedians that they had brought on board for their radio hours and their comedy tours and the writers' room ended up just getting invited to Saturday Night Live, and that's the crew that started it. Almost all of them came from National Lampoon prior to
So it's basically National Lampoon Saturday Night Live in the 70s.
It should have been.
Yeah.
It should have been. But I will say this. If that had happened, a big NBC would probably be owning everything, right? And we probably wouldn't be here talking about National Lampoon and Web3, because I don't know if that opportunity would be so personal, because the owners of it, are people, and they're not a big conglomerate. I mean, they're investors and they bought it. I'm not saying that they're not a company, but they are. But there's a much more one-on-one basis here. So when they thought about building out this new writers' room coming out of Web3, it was A, genius, and B, something that they could green light right away because they owned it.
Well, you guys can also check out the Twitter, which is NL_Studios_ETH. There'll be links to this and the other pages in our show notes. And if you scroll through here, you'll find out a lot more information. You can get a link directly to the Discord. Again, the mint is happening on January 24th, or may have already happened. And if you're listening to this years from now, that was January 24th, 2023. In case you missed it, and now these NFTs may be mooning. Lots of content here.
And look at how early we were as futurists.
To National Lampoon.
Talk to them before the minting. Boom.
We were lampooning pre-lampoon.
Let's find a time capsule and bury some shit.
There you go. Well, we appreciate you coming on, James, and the website again for you guys to check it out, nlstudios.io. National Lampoon, funny stuff. Sir Lord Travis Wright soon to appear on a National Lampoon comedy stage, making the jokes.
Probably tonight.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so. We'll go on to Twitter Spaces as well. And as we'd say, this podcast, shitter is full.
Shitter's full.
Shitter's full. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Keep it nifty.
Looking into the future, what do we see? It's lined with digital collectibles, we call them NFTs. Games, trading cards, digital art, and those crypto kitties. Travis and Joel are the hosts, you'll know. Travis and Joel say this won't blow. They're locked and loaded, so ready, set, go. It's the Nifty really kind of spiffy. The Nifty Show.